How's it going, everybody? Had an old bass come in on consignment, and I've had a few people reach out with some questions about the fret ends on their maybe new Muckelroy bass. What happens this time of year in the winter is you're probably running the heater, and if you don't have that fingerboard conditioned, or let's say it's a newer instrument and the woods haven't done all the moving around they're going to do in their first year of life, sometimes that fingerboard can shrink. This happens on Squires, this happens on Alembics, and everywhere in between. It's just wood behaving like wood. So here's a simple way to fix that problem, because fret sprout, as it's called, can be annoying. They're very sharp, and sometimes if it gets to an extreme level, it can actually cut you. So you need to fix that. This bass has a very, very tiny amount of that going on. This is a very well seasoned instrument. It is very well settled. I'm just going to very gently take care of these and give you an idea of what happens when you decide to fix this. First thing you need to do is take the strings off. You can do this with the strings on, but I'm going to go ahead and recommend that you take them off. Just in case you slip, I don't want you to damage your strings, especially if they're brand new. Or perhaps if they're flat wound, you don't want to damage the integrity of that flat, smooth surface with a file. Most Muckelroy basses have a top-loading bridge. If you do have the string-through option, let's say this low B was string-through, just put it off to the side, okay? But in this case, we're just going to take them all right off. Now, after you've done that, the first thing you want to do is shield off the body where the fingerboard meets the body area. To do that, use some blue painter's tape. And I actually go all the way down to the bridge. Either side. Go ahead and grab the treble side, even though there's just a little bit. And then go over sideways. Tape over your pickups. It's not as important nowadays that I tape over the pickups as it was years back. I used to use 4/0 steel wool for the polishing portion of this job. Steel wool will make little steel fuzzies that will jump to your pickups. And if you don't have those taped off, you're going to have all kinds of fun with that. Just to keep any dirt and residue from potentially falling into the jack, this is a front-facing jack, which is rare on my instruments, but this one has it. A little piece of tape over that. We should be good. All right. Now, if you're crafty, you can go to the hardware store and buy a little really fine tooth file, and you can mill down the corners and make everything very slick and smooth so that it doesn't feel sharp or scratch. You can do that, and this is a file that I use specifically for that. If you'd rather buy something that's pre-made, StewMac. That's a really good resource for luthier tools. If you want to have a few on hand just for DIY stuff, this is their fret leveling file. It works great for this job too. One added level of protection that I want to encourage you to do over this portion of the body, right alongside the base side of the fingerboard. Keep in mind we're reversed image. If you have some mounting tape, either this 3M stuff or something from like Gorilla, take a little piece of that and go right along the side here. I'm just about out of the Gorilla tape too. It's time to re-up on that. And just put that there. That's going to keep anything from potentially scratching the top of the body. You don't want that to happen. All right. With your file, you're going to come at it from a perpendicular fashion to the top of the fingerboard. Perpendicular. All right. Just going to go very gently right along the side. And if you don't hear anything, good. I only heard one little One little grindy tooth on that, right there. Now I'm going to turn to the bevel. I'm using very light pressure. All right, I'm going to turn this around and do the same thing on the bass side. And I like to work on the opposite side of the fingerboard facing me. That's just how I like to do it. Not hearing anything there, so we're all good. Okay, so that's about as far as some repair guys or techs take it. They will dust this off and throw strings right back on it and say it's done. This is an instrument that I'm seeing I can take a few more steps. What I mean by that is if you look really closely, this fingerboard is very dirty. The frets are a little bit gunked up and even kind of greenish colored. There's some corrosion going on. So these need some cleaning up. So if you have a pretty new bass and all you needed was those little ends filed down, where I just left off would be fine. You need a brush, just brush off any little fret shavings and you're good to go. Now, if you want to smooth out these fret edges even more, you can take some 320 grit paper, take a little piece, fold it in half. If you use the sticky back 3M stuff, it works really well. And what you do is you hold this and you mimic the angle of bevel that you put in with the file. I'm going to stress that you use light pressure when you do this. Don't push hard. And if you're not comfortable doing this, take it to a tech. Don't try this out on a $6,000 bass. Take it to a tech or get a Fender Squier and practice on something like that. All right. That's looking good. We're going to do the same thing on the bass side. What this 320 grit does is gets some of the machining or the teeth marks out that the file can potentially leave behind. Makes for a really nice smooth surface on the beveled edge of the fret. And here you can see we've got that mounting tape that's protecting the top of the instrument, so I don't have to worry about scratching the bass. All right. I am going to get some Scotch-Brite, the purple stuff, and I'm going to go over this fingerboard and all these frets and shine them up and get some of this corrosion, some of this gook off. If you have super heavy corrosion, you can do the same thing with a piece of 320 grit. 320 is kind of like the magical grit for fine fret work. If you've got a little bit of fret gouge, you can take a piece and just very gently go over it and it'll take a lot of those gouges right out. The thing I like about the Scotch-Brite pad is it doesn't send those little steel wool fuzzies down to your pickups. If you're just now tuning into this video, while it's live, wait till it finishes. I'm going to repost it, go back and go to the beginning. John, this is a little tutorial on how to deal with fret sprout. Okay, there's still a little bit of stuff in this fingerboard, so we're going to clean that a little further. Let me get some here. Denatured alcohol works pretty well for cleaning off gook. It dries very quickly, so it doesn't sit there and soak into your fingerboard. That's one of the main reasons I like it. I'm just going to get in between each fret here on the fingerboard and get the gunk and the dirt off. And keep in mind, we've only gone to the Scotch-Brite, the purple Scotch-Brite pad. They make different roughness, grit, if you want to call it that. The next one I use is the gray color. Maybe it's 3M. I can't remember who makes this stuff. Anyways, it's available at my local Woodcraft up in Austin. I just buy sheets of it. Well, this was a very well played bass. This is number 21. 21. This is the 21st bass I made. And it's been well played, very well taken care of. Part of the reason I'm getting this one cleaned up and ready is because it's actually in on consignment. So besides being a useful tool for this tutorial, this could be a useful tool for you, the bass player, in your arsenal of instruments. All right, that's nice and clean. We're probably going to go back with one more round of that after I do some of the polishing here. Gray colored Scotch-Brite. This gets it just another level of shiny. Now, if you're doing this on a maple fingerboard, you need to shield off in between every fret, which is a long, drawn-out process. I can walk you through that later if you need help with that. For today's example, we're dealing with we'll call it rosewood fingerboard. This is Ecuadorian rosewood. It's beautiful stuff. Follow the beveled edge that you worked on earlier with this. Make sure and shine that up. All right. Now I have these little buffing pads. All right, they've got a green and a white side. Use these to shine these frets up. Again, this won't go well for you if you do this on a maple fingerboard without shielding it off. If it's rosewood or ebony or something dark, you're fine. Going down the bevel. Uh-oh. And then over the tops. Now the white side. This is the shine side. Nice and smooth. All right, one more round of cleaning with the denatured alcohol just to get the some of the gook off from these buffing pads because they turn black. All right. Again with paper towel. Some of the blue shop towels work really well. Don't use something like acetone. That's a little bit too harsh. If you use acetone, it can eat through certain finishes. It can eat through the plastic covers on your pickups. It's pretty bad stuff. So you got to be really careful with acetone. I usually only use acetone if I'm dealing with stubborn CA glue. When I'm doing fret work, I need to get some off the fingerboard. That's really about it. Or if I glue my fingers together, which happens from time to time. Now, we need to condition this fingerboard. I know it's reversed image, but this is Howard Feed and Wax, okay? This is good stuff. You can use other products out there that exist. I mean, Dunlop has some stuff. Ken Smith has his fingerboard oil. There's lemon oil. This is orange. This is beeswax and orange oil. Does a great job of cleaning, conditions it, maintains a healthy moisture content, and it smells nice. So, and when it's cooler, it gets a little viscous. Here we go. Just rub that in. Okay, you want to let that soak in for just a little bit. While you have the strings off your bass, this is a good time to go check your tuners and be sure everything's tightened. Over years and hours of playing and the vibrations from strings, things can loosen up a little bit. So just check each tuner. That one had a little play in it. It definitely needs to be tightened. That one too. And that one. These were all loose. This is just good maintenance to do. Flip it over, be sure the little screws in the back are good and tight. Also, check the bridge screws. And again, we're not torquing down like a diesel mechanic. We're just being sure that things are nice and snug. Okay, that's had a little, about a minute or so to soak in. If it's a newer instrument, give it 5 minutes, okay? Maybe put a little bit more on and let it really soak in. This bass is old, it's got some years on it, so we're just going to go ahead and wipe off the excess. It's well seasoned enough that I know it's going to drink up what it drinks up, and that's it. Check the back of your neck. Sometimes that feed and wax can drip down, and you just want to get the sides, get it cleaned off. And off goes your tape. And that's that. If you have questions on anything I did, reach out to me. I'm more than happy to walk you through it, especially if it's a bass that I built. I want to be sure that you're taking care of it so it can take care of you. All right, I'm more than happy to help you, so don't hesitate to reach out. Hope this has been informative and helpful and entertaining all at the same time. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.